Lanthimos, Lubetzky, and Wong Kar-wai have been paving the way as pioneers of wide-angle shots. As the look becomes more widely accepted, ultrawides have evolved to be more than just landscape lenses. Optics like these can quite literally turn your world upside down. It's aesthetically one of the most beautiful designs I've seen. Enter the Zeiss Milvus, 15mm f2.8. This full-frame manual focus ultra-wide lens comes in Nikon mount or EF with electronically controlled aperture. The Milvus are beautifully designed with superb quality in operation. The build is solid, metal, and even weatherproof compared to exposed Zeiss Otus lenses, which are always at risk for dust, sand, and rain. The Milvus are also smaller and lighter than their Otus counterparts at 950 grams, featuring a thoughtfully integrated reversible hood with curves reminiscent of elegant flower petals. Modern Zeiss lenses spoil us with their handling, implementing a responsively dampened focus ring. The focus throw is only 120 degrees, which makes this ideal for handheld, but could prove to be a nightmare for rigs, especially because there are no focusing gears unless you buy separate mods. With a massive 95mm filter thread, you'll have to put considerable effort to make this set suitable for professional workflows, as lengths and focus throws are inconsistent. However, I insist this focal length should be considered for handheld work, accentuating floating images. Don't let its f2.8 aperture dissuade you. With a minimum close focusing distance of 10 centimeters, you can nearly touch your subject, allowing for much more bokeh than f2.8 suggests. f2 would still be ideal for low light, but you'll likely want higher f-stops to have more of the background in focus. Due to the vast field of view, nailing critical focus at f11 is quite deceptive unless you have a large monitor. Add more precise focus at 2.8, where you see the magic of Zeiss lenses, designed to render optimally wide open. Although I'm typically conservative with focal lengths, I couldn't help but smile while using such a wild lens. With so much coverage, you have to make sure your entire scene looks presentable, as you aren't always able to block out unwanted objects. Framing takes somewhat of a back seat, but I think this lens will excel indoors or in wilderness, as the biggest frustration will be stray children and telephone poles that compromise your shots. Although other ultrawides with better specs do exist, they don't have the 3D rendering of Zeiss. To me, this 110-degree field of view is the embodiment of freedom. But there's no such thing as a free lunch, is there? Unlike fisheye lenses, this 15mm is rather rectilinear, so image quality shouldn't be dismissed. The lens is considerably softer than other lenses in the Zeiss lineup. The resolution just isn't there and won't exude the same premium look of the Otus. I prefer f8, but f2.8 has more pop, albeit controversial bokeh for this focal length. The lens also exhibits visible purple fringing, vignetting, softening, and flares, all of which vintage enthusiasts may gravitate toward. However, a lot of the imperfections can be swept under the rug by letterboxing and stopping down. You still have comparable contrast, saturation, and the unmistakable Zeiss look that makes matching possible. Unfortunately, the colors are not as accurate, and the color shifting is cooler than the Otus. Regardless, I knowingly bought this Milvus because I valued its focal length over the image quality. The 15mm is the widest focal length offered by the set, allowing you to capture more scope than eyesight. I haven't had this much fun filming in a long time. You can get creative with angles, distance, and movement, as there are few restrictions on what you can frame with an ultrawide. Everything you shoot just happens to look more expressive. What fascinates me most are the close-ups. The minimum focusing distance allows you to get very intimate with your subject, which naturally leads to wild perspective distortion. This is not particularly alarming for a lens of this nature, with lines sometimes warping in the corners. A little bit of quirkiness can be charming, but if you want straighter lines, you'll have to navigate the right angles. I suggest filming your subject at approximately this distance for negligible distortion. But you shouldn't completely pass up on low-angle shots, or you'd be excluding a distinctive feature. As the performance is subpar to more premium Zeiss glass, you'll have more reasons to stop down, which ends up feeling rather therapeutic when you also complement it with a naturalistic grade. Although this lens isn't optically pristine, It allows you to shoot things you normally can't. Some may want the 18mm, since the 15 and 21 Milvus have the same optical design as the previous Zeiss classics, aside from the coating. But I went for the 15 anyway, because if you're gonna go weird, lean into it. With my newfound appreciation, maybe next time I'll look for a 12mm. As new models like the nano primes are released, some lenses feel better as the prices go down. Although I was able to buy this copy for $600, I'm willing to spend more for better performance, but it's the only option Zeiss offers for EF PL mount. I can only plead, Zeiss, if you're listening, please expand the Otus lineup. Wides on full frame can be divisive, but I'd recommend everyone to at least try it, even if it's not your style. It's an eccentric look which you'll only know if you love once you use it. Something tells me that ultrawides will be embraced by more and more storytellers. For better or worse, cinematographers have more style than ever, and niche lenses like these fit the bill. I imagine they can shine for flashy commercial work, though swapping with standard lenses probably won't be subtle. How successful you implement them will depend on how much you commit and understand their effect. Camera movement with ultrawides almost feel like strokes of a brush that add a sense of unfocused exploration. I'm naturally drawn to devices like these that open up new avenues of storytelling, but even if you're filming aimlessly, you might feel the same je ne sais quoi that sparked my creativity. What more can we ask from the tools at our disposal? Cameras generate all the buzz in the filmmaking community, but lenses largely determine your overall look. So if you've been searching for inspiration, maybe it's time to widen your perspective.